Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, in today's video, I would like to share with you a little bit about my journey to study in the uh, Islamic University of Medina. Someone also asked about it in the comment section of some other video I posted to talk about this journey there. So I'm going to share a little bit about that in this video. I'm going to start from the beginning. So how did I even find out about this university? In order to explain that, I have to go back to pretty much soon after reverting or converting to Islam. I went to the Estonian Islamic Center, which had just been opened. They didn't even have like proper carpets there yet. It was really just literally like just a few days that they had started the prayers there, maybe a few weeks, something like that. So, anyways, I went there and I met the leader of the Estonian Muslim community there, and he was really nice to like have this really long chat with me. We drank some tea together after the prayer, and I found out that there's this Islamic seminar coming up in Poland, and some of the brothers from Estonia are going there. And I was like, I really wanted to go. I knew that I wanted to go, and so I called my parents and said like, hey, there's and they didn't even really, I hadn't really talked about that I'm a Muslim. And I was like, there's this like seminar coming up like in Poland, and I would like to go, because it was just like I think few days after the like after I went to the Islamic Center. So I was in the capital. My parents were in the southern part of the country, and it was like I'm gonna go, and it was, I guess, one of those moments where it like also came more clear to them that okay, their son is actually a Muslim. And so I went to the seminar. We went by car, so sharing the journey with the other Muslim brothers, that was also a really nice experience. Stopping at the stopping to pray on the road, etc. Really nice experience. As a side note, I think it's really important for everyone who become a Muslim, or even for born Muslims, to find someone around you, some brothers, and for sisters to find some sisters with whom you can do things, even even praying together. It's really important not to be alone. So we went to the seminar in Warsaw, and it was really exciting to me because this was pretty much the first time I was in a proper masjid, because the Islamic Center in Estonia, it didn't really look like a masjid or a mosque, but that one there really had a different vibe to it, and meeting all the other brothers there, really amazing. And there was one brother that was currently studying in at the time was studying in Medina, and there were also some couple of scholars from Saudi Arabia in the seminar, and I was like really like happy to know about this university, to like just the idea of like studying my new religion in the city of the Prophet. SubhanAllah, this was like really an amazing idea, and like I knew that I wanted to go there. So after that seminar, I started gathering my paperwork for the for applying to the university, and I hadn't even finished high school by that, like at that time. I had just I had still 1 more year to go, but I thought, okay, I'm gonna apply anyways, because even though like officially, yeah, you would have to have the high school certificate to apply, but alhamdulillah, I did it anyways, and at that year there were four brothers who applied, and three of us got accepted. So subhanallah, I was like really really excited when I got the like saw my name in the list of accepted students. Mashallah, that was really really exciting. And just as a backup plan B, in case something comes up and I can't go there or whatever, I did apply to university in Estonia as well. First, I wanted to study the what's it called, like Middle Eastern and something like Middle Eastern studies, something like that. But yeah, unfortunately, the the head of that department was quite racist, I would say, Islamophobic, and still is, I believe. So everything went well in that interview till it became clear that I was a Muslim, because they asked me like, what are your favorite like places in the Middle East, and I said like Mecca and Medina. And why, they asked, because I'm a Muslim. And then the reaction was terrible. I was like shocked to see, especially from that department, to see that kind of reaction, because that guy said like, he asked me like in a really sarcastic and really like arrogant way, like, oh, so you think you're gonna come here and like throw your prayer mat on the floor and start praying in the hallways here? And I was like really shocked. I didn't expect that, and probably because of them knowing that I was a Muslim, I didn't get accepted. I was really close to getting accepted. I was like, they accepted only like 10 people for like to study for free. They had more paid slots, but I think I was like 13th or 14th, because the written part of the whole admission process, like there was a small test or exam or something, that went really well for me. So yeah, but I did study like so my plan B of my plan B was to study like politics and governance, because I was interested like in the international relations and all that stuff. So I did end up studying this politics and governance for like just a little bit, a few weeks. And the funny thing was also like, when in one class everyone was asked, why did you apply for this? And then like everyone laughed when I said like, oh, because I didn't get accepted in the Middle Eastern studies. It was pretty much like that for me. I didn't find those subjects too interesting there. So it was autumn 2010, I believe, yeah. And I had been accepted by that time in the Medina Islamic University. So what happened there was there was a huge visa issue. I think a lot of the students had like huge visa issues at the time. A lot of the like travels had to be delayed because of that, etc. So what happened was that they gave they point like an embassy, basically, for like, normally it's the closest embassy that you have to go to get your Saudi Arabian visa before the travel, and also like present whatever documents you need to, etc. But they appointed Moscow for us, and which is like, I think, 1,000 kilometers or something. And we had a Saudi embassy in Finland, which is like only 80 kilometers from the capital, like from Tallinn to Helsinki. It's only like 80 kilometers of sea. You can go there like 2 or 3 hours by boat, by ship or ferry or whatever. And yeah, it was really really crazy. And later on, when I already got to Medina, I kind of figured out why that could be, because in that office where you had to present your documents there in the university, they had this huge map there of pretty much like Europe or maybe the world, but it was so old that like it was like the Soviet Union map. So no wonder like they they sent us to Moscow. Uh, but yeah, so me and the two other brothers went to Moscow to sort our visas out. We thought like, okay, we actually had the tickets already. I think yeah, we had the tickets to travel from Moscow to Medina through Turkey. And funny thing was that's when we realized that there was this huge issue with the visas, and we didn't like we stayed there for the whole week basically, and we didn't get our visas. We had to come back to Estonia and just keep waiting and hoping that something would get sorted out. So it was really like that time in week that week we stayed in an apartment of one of the relatives of the brother, and it was also like sharing the small, really small room together, and there was a language barrier as well between us because these two brothers, amazing brothers, much better than I I will ever be, uh, and we just couldn't communicate well. So it led to some kind of little bit of conflicts, and because language barrier, a lot of people, especially like the Tatar Muslims, a lot of them in Estonia, they speak Russian, and my Russian is really bad. I did study a little bit, but it's really bad. So basically, yeah, we had communication issues, and I was like, in a way, I was like a bit extreme, maybe with like my Islam at the time, and they were like maybe a little bit lenient, like maybe too like moderate with their approach with some of the things. But yeah, like it was a crazy time. But subhanallah, like afterwards in Medina, even though in the beginning we had some issues, but subhanallah, we became like the closest friends pretty much there. And it's amazing like how Allah like يؤلف بين القلوب, like really like kind of brings hearts together, and he can make like the person who was like almost like your enemy, he can make your like closest friend. It's subhanallah, it's really like something that I experienced in my life firsthand. So yeah, after that failed trip to Moscow to get our visas and travel from there, we came back to Estonia, waited some more weeks, I believe it was, until I think the father of one of the brothers went with all our passports to try again to get the visas for us, and then it worked, and so we traveled to Medina through Moscow though again. The tickets were still like through Moscow, so we had to go to Moscow again. The first time we went by train, which was also an interesting experience. Really rough actually. Like I think it was like a money issue, to save money, because later I went by plane to catch the flight from Moscow to Istanbul, Istanbul to Medina. But yeah, that first time we went by train, like doing the prayers, like in the train, and trying to make wudu in the really tiny bathroom. I got scolded by some staff of the train because like I had made like a bit of a mess with the water. Uh, but somehow like I managed like the prayers. It is really tough, but again like Allah always makes a way for you. If you want to pray, you can, wherever you are, whatever your situation, you can always find a way to pray. Allah will make it happen for you, as long as you have the uh, desire to do that, to pray. So yeah, that's pretty much the journey to Medina. uh, how I got there, why I wanted to go there. Inshallah, I probably at some point will talk about my first days there, my first impressions, settling in, life in the dormitory, etc. But yeah, just for now. Uh, that's it. Have a beautiful day or night wherever you are. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.